And
I'm
you were
doing
doing,
computer.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
no
So let's
problem.
get started. Yes, yes. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to hashtag Cospod 2021. My name is Darlena Marie, and my partner in crime is.
Miss Perry.
All right. This is a new initiative set forth by the New York Costume Performance Network. And our group, many of you know, has been around for years. We've been cosplaying, doing photo shoots, doing panels, workshops, charity. We've been on Good Morning America. We've done charity work with really high profile organizations like Raymore and Flanagan, St. Mary's Hospital, St. Jude's, Intrepid. So we are awesome cosplayers that love charity and love community. So what we decided to do this year, this was an idea set forth by one of our co-admins named Gerard Holder, who unfortunately passed away last July. He suggested that we do something where it's similar to podcasting, but it will involve cosplay. And that's where, since we always like to get together and have wonderful discussions, we decided, well, let's have wonderful discussions on the YouTube and do cosplay at the same time. Because as you know, with podcasting, you hear a voice, but as cosplayers, who wants to go through all the work of making these wonderful outfits and you can't be seen? So that's why we decided we would combine cosplay with podcasting to create Cospod. So our first conversation is Discord 001. We're going to be talking about a wonderful Star Trek episode from Deep Space Nine called Second Sight. Now, Second Sight deals with our lonely captain who falls in love with a mysterious woman, very beautiful, brown skin like me, red. She has this outfit. And oh my God, he's just starting to fall in love and everything like that. But there's a mystery involved. But we're going to also talk about it from another perspective, particularly because this is still Women's History Month. So we have some other perspectives that we want to bring in about this episode. But first, we have a wonderful tribute to our two main stars from this episode, Nadel, who my partner is cosplaying, and Fenna, who I'm cosplaying. So my partner will play her wonderful presentation. Stick back and enjoy. This is our first one, and here is our presentation, Nadel and Fenna.
A fairy tale never existed in my life. My happiness, just a cloak over my eyes. And when I finally came back to reality, I looked in the mirror and didn't see me. I saw someone else in my room, another face, and another attitude, a mask of faces, a devastated soul with nowhere to go. No idea who to be, no idea who to make happy, crying inside, living a lie, wishing for the lonesome days of the past, afraid to let go of what she has, not ready to stand alone, be on her own, 'cause they're not hearing and she's tired of sharing.
All right. Now you have something more to share with us, Nadel?
Yes, we want to discuss a very important dynamic in this episode regarding just women for this Women's History Month. Because as a married woman works and like other women, just all around, many things to many people, we as women tend to endure a lot in silence. And the gender roles are set at an early age in most cultures. And that nurturer and manager of all things in the home tends to get perpetuated by the media, which continues the social construct. And women are expected to suppress, you know, all those turmoils inside with do yoga, read a book, some kind of suggestion from this or that magazine to get over it. But in actuality, all we really need is to be our true self.
Yes, that is definitely the truth. So with this episode, Second Sight, we have the wonderful Fenna, who meets Captain Sisko, and Captain Sisko immediately becomes attracted to her, only to later find out that she looks like the wife of a popular terraformer from Earth, who is known all over the Federation for being an amazing scientist and has done amazing work. So at the dinner that you saw in the video, Captain Sisko sees Fenna looks like Sayatek's wife. Sayatek is this great scientist, and he brings out his wife to introduce to everyone who looks like this mysterious woman. Anyway, make a long story short, it is Jadzia, Sisko's good friend, who discovers that Fenna is not real. Fenna is actually what is known as a psychoprojective entity of Nadel. Okay, and the reason for that is Nadel's species has the ability to psychoproject another entity that's opposite to the type of person that they are, and who's living the type of life that's opposite to the type of life that they're living. So eventually this becomes a big problem, and Sayatek decides that he's going to sacrifice his life because he realizes his wife is projecting this entity because she's depressed and sad and miserable in her marriage. But she comes from a species that does not believe in divorce. So to make sure that she is not stuck with him forever, he takes his life and therefore sets her free. And then Fenna disappears. So we want to talk about this from the woman's mental health, emotional perspective, the need for women to take care of themselves and to have some form of freedom and escapism, which Fenna represents. So that's the reason why Nadel, my partner, as you see, is home with a lovely house. And me, Fenna, I am on the beach having fun because this is what Fenna does, okay? So in this episode, what we see is Nadel, the dutiful wife. She's basically like the background, to her husband's foreground. And she follows him everywhere. She does everything he asks her to do. She prepares the home. She prepares these exotic meals for his constituents. She's always there by his side. But deep down inside, this woman is suffering from manic depression, seriously manic depression. So what does that mean? Well, just think about your life, my life, and we all can talk about moments in our lives when we were overburdened, when we felt like that Natasha Sane poem about for Black women who consider suicide when the rainbow was enough. So we all have been in situations where we've been burdened with job responsibilities, family responsibilities, taking care of sick folks. I know I took care of my mom for 17 years, so being a caretaker has its own extra burdens. And then we have to deal with the world around us. And as women of color, we have extra burdens to deal with racism and sexism and being the backbone of the community. And I know that a lot of the women in my family have often said, despite going through things, like my partner said, we're expected to stay quiet. We're expected to stay demure. We're expected to stay loyal. We're expected to just get in there and do what Black women do because we're strong and powerful. We're the strong Black women, which sometimes has caused us not to take care of ourselves, not to, be able to just say, no, I don't want to do everything. I don't want to take care of everything. I don't want to be in charge of everything. I want to just have some time to be like Fenna. So Fenna, her belief was, hey, the galaxy is out there. Let's explore it. Let's have fun. Stop planning. Stop thinking of everything you got to do. Just take time for yourself. Let's just explore. Let's just be free. Let's just go for wherever the lights take us. Just shoot for the stars. So that brings us to this point, okay? Sometimes women need to just get involved in escapism. Escapism is a healthy thing. Now, society will tell you, oh, you should always be like, on point, be about your job, don't worry about getting into the fantasy and escapism. That's for losers or people who can't deal with real life. But I'm a firm believer in escapism. Escapism is the reason why we cosplay, we love comics, we love fantasy, we love movies. It is a good thing. But it's also about just self-care. It's also about taking time for yourself to sit and think about and meditate on you. hey, I haven't been to the doctor lately. A lot of us, and you moms know this, you make sure everybody goes to the doctor but yourself. The next thing you know, you're popping up with something, and the doctor says, hey, if you would have came to me 2, 3 years ago, you wouldn't be going through this. So I know for a fact my mother was the same way. She made sure all of us had our doctor's appointments, but then she wouldn't go to the doctor. That's another thing we as women do to ourselves. We put ourselves last, but sometimes we need to put ourselves first. Wouldn't you agree, my partner? Indeed.
Wholeheartedly.
And so, what things do you do as a wife, a mother, a cosplayer, a professional? What things do you do to help yourself escape and to practice some self care you can share with our audience?
Absolutely. My self-care, of course, I cosplay. Uh, I'm also a martial artist. I'm an artist by nature, draw, paint, I create all the time. I get it out there
Mm-hmm.
because, like you said earlier, these type of things can lead to what the writer was talking about in terms of suicide for some women in extreme cases,
Mm-hmm.
especially now during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
because you have a harder time escaping because
Mm-hmm.
escaping could put you and your home in danger by
Right.
bringing, that virus back home, trying
Mm-hmm.
to get out. So you have to find that mental space with
Mm-hmm.
all the craziness going on around you,
Yes.
with all the demands of the household, the demands of the child, of the husband, the other family members you take care of.
Mm-hmm.
Finding that place to meditate,
Mm-hmm.
very important. Being very firm about this is my time, not your
Yes.
time, and it is
Mm-hmm.
not negotiable.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's so true. And I had to learn to do that. After taking care of my mom, it was like, I totally felt like Fenna. And that's why I identify with her so much. And, after my mom passed, the family was like, okay, you need to take a little vacation. You hadn't taken a vacation in years. Maybe just like a little weekend getaway to see family, but not like a real week or two vacation. So I says, yes, and at that time, the Star Trek experience was still there in Vegas. So my brother was like, well, where's some place that you always wanted to visit? And I was like, the Star Trek experience in Vegas. He was like, yes, let's go. And I tell you, God is good because I went to a convention and I hadn't gone to one in a while. It was at the New York Hotel. I think it was Fangora convention, and they had a raffle going on. And so it was for 2 free round trip tickets. And I'm like, I never win anything, but let me just go in and try. So I did the raffle. A few weeks later, lo and behold, who gets an email saying you are the winner of 2 round trip United Airways tickets? 2. I was like, yes, thank you, Jesus. So I called my brother and says, okay, so we're going to Star Trek experience in Vegas. And I got these 2 free round trip tickets. So we were like, yes. So we went and, I had such a great time. It was beautiful. It was Trek Mecca. And I'm so sorry the place is gone. But I had just missed the Star Trek convention that's held there. So of course I planned to go the following year. And so the following year, I went as Finna because that was my mantra. Okay, I'm Finna. I'm going to be free. I'm not going to plan anything. This is my time. I'm going to have a great time. That's the year I also met the good folks from the New York City Star Trek meetup. And they gave me a wonderful send off before I got on the plane to go to Vegas, my first Star Trek convention in Vegas. And I've been going every year since. And that's another thing I want to emphasize. As women, we need to keep our, traditional forms of escapism. Okay. If there's some place you like to go to every year, go to it. Okay. Tell your job you're not trying to hear it. Tell your family you're not trying to hear it. Tell your friends you're not trying to hear it. Your husband, your partner. No, this is me. Okay. This week I go to Star Trek convention. I tell my whole family I'll switch around all of the, vacations, but don't touch Star Trek convention in Vegas. STLV, you're not going to see me. Okay. And I have been steadfast with that for 14 years.
Wow.
14 years. I have not missed a year except for last year because of COVID. But I was willing to go even last year. I wasn't gonna go like a lot of places, but I was willing to go there. I already have my N95. As a prize service person, I like have masks for every threat level. So I was like, one of these masks are gonna keep me good in Vegas from the virus. But And I had to really force myself to do that because, you get to the point where you're running around, you have school, you have work, you're taking care of family, and you can get to the point of manic depression. You can feel overburdened. You can feel like, there's so much being placed on me. And sometimes, going back to as women of color, I have been in situations where on the job, it seems like, other women can have just a little bit of stress in their life and they need to take off, and it's understood. But then, as a Black woman, when I say, hey, I need to take off some time and everything. Well, no, we have this to do. We have that to do. You're really good at it. Can you come in on the weekend? You don't, they have kids at home. And I'm like, we're not going there. We're not going about, who has kids, who don't have kids. My personal life has nothing to do with, why I should always be the one to come in on the weekends or stay late. So I had to put my foot down on that too. And, I got to this point, I was calling and excuse me if anyone gets offended, but I would call it the white woman phenomenon when I would say, oh, I just can't. I'm stressed. I need to take the day off. Oh, no, I can't do all of that. It's just too much. I suffer from things, just, and it's just to back people off so that they could stop bothering me, and pressuring me to do different things. And so I even got to the point where if I feel like taking a cab for 4 blocks, I'm going to do it, because you
Hey,
just have to sometimes take care of yourself and splurge on yourself. Okay, because you deserve it. And it helps you mentally, physically, and emotionally and spiritually. And I just want to encourage everybody to do that. So when I saw Second Sight, my first thing was, oh, Sisko falling in love and getting attracted to someone. That's so wonderful because he's a poor widow. And then I looked at that episode again and I said, something? This episode is really bringing forth some interesting points about the dynamic of women, self-care, manic depression, and how women take so much upon themselves and you don't even know it. Like other people don't even know it. Like sometimes we hear of women who have left this world, by their own hands, and we're like, well, she seems so together. She seems so happy. She was always in church, and it's like nobody bothers to realize that a woman could be suffering despite looking good and smiling. She could be suffering inside. So when I saw that episode, I looked at Nadel. I says, Nadel is suffering inside. That's why she psycho projects Fenna. Fenna's exact opposite to her. She's free. She has no concerns. And Nadel is just burdened down and everything. And I was so glad that my partner here saw it too, because a lot of people didn't see that perspective. They're only looking at it from one perspective. So that's why I says, okay, this will be the first topic that we would have in our discussion for Cospod 2021. It will be the Second Sight episode. So tell me, my partner, how does Fenna come across to you?
Fenna comes across to me free, just as they wanted her to be. Just carefree, adventurous, curious.
Mm-hmm.
When Sisko asks her just any question, she's like, I don't really know. Like, she didn't put much thought to it. That's
Mm-hmm.
how you want to be sometimes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know why, but I'm just gonna.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Why not?
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, people might question why you do something, but
Mm-hmm.
nobody has that question sometimes. Why not? Just
Mm-hmm.
why not? It makes me
Exactly.
really think about the child at heart, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the innocence of children.
Yes.
Just because they don't have a reason why, it's fun. Flip it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's so true. They don't go into a whole diabolical explanation. They don't start quoting, all kind of theories and philosophies. It's just, hey, why not? This is what I
I'm
want to
not
do.
hurting anyone.
I'm not
Just
hurting
having
anyone.
fun.
Exactly. And we get asked that a lot with cosplay, especially like because we're not like 16. People are like, well, you cosplay? And I'm, yeah, why? Well, why not? Okay. Why you do what you do? You go to the games, you put all kind of
Yeah.
paint on your face and furry heads of animals. So like, why
I
why
didn't
can't I
thought of
dress
that
up
one.
as
That's a good one.
why can't I put on
Yeah.
a Supergirl outfit? Why? And then, like they'll understand it when I say, well, we do charity, we go into shelters, hospitals. Oh yes, okay, I get it. That's wonderful, that's great. And it's like if like I didn't say that, they would just look at me like, why are you like cosplaying? You're past 20,
I
So
feel like there's a suppression in those kind of people too, where you
mhm,
just can't appreciate what's in front of you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you don't want to do it for whatever reason, but could you just appreciate the beauty of what you see, the art of what you see, the
Mm-hmm.
fact that there's another human, another soul in front of you, just happy living life.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And we do so much, the photo shoots and everything, and we've done panels and everything and all kind of discussions because we love our fandom. And normally these questions don't come from people in fandom. A lot of it comes from people outside of fandom. Um, so it's like I find that a lot of people just, they're kind of stuck in a certain way of thinking about what they should and should not do,
Hmm.
particularly because of their age, their race, whatever like that. Because I've even had like a fellow black folks say, "Oh, I didn't know black people did so much cosplay." Particularly when Black Panther came out, it's like all the black people realized, "Oh, there's black people who cosplay." We've been doing it all along. And and it's like I was always taught by my parents who were Star Trek fans, and they drilled it in us, walk to the beat of your own drum and live your life. Don't be afraid to come out your comfort zone and try things. If you think something's interesting, just try it at least once. If it doesn't work out, hey, you at least tried it. You had use of the hall, and then you move on to something else. And I had to learn pretty much the hard way because I went through a moment of a little bit of depression after my mom passed. I had to learn the hard way that you have to really concentrate on you and think about you, because at the end of the day, nobody else is paying your bills, nobody else is really helping you, that's out there, questioning why you do this and why you do that. You just need to concentrate on your family, your friends that love you, and your family that loves you. Even if you have family that don't really love you, whatever like that, you keep them where they are. But if you have friends that love you, those friends become your family. Okay. And
Absolutely.
yeah, because it's so important to make sure that your network around you is going to empower you and uplift you and support you and dream with you and fantasize with you and escape with you. And that's what I have with you and my buddies at the cosplay group and my Star Trek fans. And we have a good time. And you guys don't know how much you helped me through. You guys did more for me for my depression than going to counseling and taking medication. I stopped all that. Between church and you guys, I got over it. And it's so important to have that network. And when you find your clique, okay, you stick with it. Now, we are not cliquish. We have a clique, but we're not cliquish because we know how to love on people
Yes.
and receive people and everything like that. So then that causes our network to get larger and larger and larger. And then we have even more people to count on. So part of women taking care of themselves and keeping themselves whole, mind, body, spirit, and soul, is to surround yourself with that positive light, that light and that love that you get from other folks. So what other folks do you surround yourself with along with your family and friends to help keep you uplifted? Because I know you're into a lot of things, children's books and everything. So share that with us.
Oh, absolutely. I've been surrounding myself with other like-minded people who
Mm-hmm.
are pretty much maybe they don't cosplay, but spiritually we follow the same callings.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it comes down to things like just diet, because I recently started following a plant-based diet, not
Mm-hmm.
completely vegan. I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on it. I mean, having that nature connection, other
Mm-hmm.
people with that connection, is just a different type of person
Mm-hmm.
that brings peace when all you want to do is just sit in the sun,
Right.
let that vitamin D hit you, and just
Right.
relax. That
Mm-hmm.
is escape right there. Some people
Mm-hmm.
really don't understand how powerful it is to have the silence, to have the peace of
Yes.
mind. And when you have other people you can sit in that with, it just makes it that much greater.
Mm-hmm.
I have my martial artist brothers and sisters,
Mm-hmm.
and we get together, we train. I have my other friends that want to learn publishing and
Mm-hmm.
writing with me. So it's like you have, and everyone doesn't have to be into the same things.
Right.
You can
Right.
have many different groups, many different cliques,
Yes.
and it's still all about love, all
Mm-hmm.
about love.
That's right. Yes, that's true because my networks consists of course, the cosplay, the comic fans, the Star Trek fans, and I have folks that I love, and we support each other. and they're not into any of that. But they love that I'm into it, and they support me and everything, and they give to our, our charitable initiatives. But I have my business group, my real estate business group, and I have my church family, and they're really cool because sometimes Christians, can get a little bit strict with certain things, but I'm thankful that I attend a church where my pastor and first lady, they love the comics. Their kids love the comics. We've cosplayed at the church, youth events and charity events, and that's always great. I have my military friends that I still hang out with, even though I'm not in the service anymore. And we do all veteran support activities, and we've taken cosplayers to Walter Reed and to military hospitals when they have like Valentine's gift drive or Christmas gift drives, and that's really wonderful. So, like you said, everybody doesn't have to be into the same thing, but what's beautiful is that we all love and support each other the same way, and that's what's so important. And then, I want to go a little bit deeper into your point about being silent. Okay. Another tradition I usually have is every couple of years for my birthday, I like to go to Canada, and I like to go by myself. Folks like, you want to go all the way to Canada by yourself? No, come on, let's go with your girl. We have a party. But that's my time. I'm like, I'll do that with friends another time. But around my birthday is the time that I would, go to Canada, and I would just sit and be by the falls and listen to the water and just meditate and just do some self inventory and listen to my music and read whatever I wanted to read. And it was so good because being quiet like that, you get inspiration. You start to be able to think more about what you want to do and plan things. And then sometimes your brain just needs to be blank and you're not thinking about anything.
Oh yeah.
Just enjoy the quiet, the water, the sunshine, and that's it. And people really don't know that even doing that can really, really help you physically. I mean, scientists and doctors, they're like doing all these studies, quoting what you and I are talking about. They've seen the actual physical manifestation of benefits that come with being quiet and being still and eating right and just taking some time for yourself. And all that is just so important. A lot of times we think we have to go on this long vacation, we have to do all this planning and trying to find hotel deals. I enjoy doing staycations. I mean, I feel we live in like one of the greatest cities of the world. I'm being very kind because I normally would say the greatest city in the world. But in New York, there's always someplace to like go and see and do wonderful things. So I'll do a staycation in New York in a minute, and I'll be like, okay, this weekend I'm staying in Manhattan. I'm going away. Where are you going? Manhattan. You're going to Manhattan. I'm going to Manhattan. Okay. And I'm going to go see this movie, see this play, hang out with some friends, whatever like that, and stay in a hotel. And the city has beautiful hotels. So even a little staycation is a good, getaway. We don't always have to go far. We can just get away right in our own city, and it's wonderful. Going to the beach, as you see behind me, another wonderful thing. I love water. Water is very spiritual to me. So Fenna loves going to the beach, And I'll be thinking about you, Nadel. I'll be thinking, my girl, she's stuck at home with that crazy husband, she could be out on the beach with me.
I'll be
But I'm so
come to the
glad you
beach
did
with
the
me.
broke
We
free.
good.
Yes. I'm glad Nadel broke free at the end of the episode. I just wish she could have took Fenna with her, but that's okay. Fenna will live in my heart.
Hey, Fenna. That kind of bothered me at the end because I'm like, man, but where's she going back to?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, you still need some Fenna. Okay, the man is gone. You know it not now. It's time to open up, butterfly. You can let a little out. Take the
Yes.
sleeves off the dress.
No, right? Well, she was all dressed up and she was just covered, But you know what? I think at the end when she asked Sisko what was Finna like, and he said, like you, I think that was his way of letting her know that a lot of Finna's characteristics is inside of her. That's why she projected Finna in the first place. And all she
Right.
needs to do is to take some time and dig deep down in herself, and she can pull out all of those characteristics that are Finna and find a way to, have that balance where she can combine it into her life so that she never gets back into that depression that she was in while married. So I think in the end, the spirit of Fenna will come through, eventually in Nadel once she goes back, went back to her planet and got back in contact with her family. It just started, zeroing in on herself. So that gave me a little a positive hope that Fenna still lives. So talk about how you put your outfit together.
So, and looking at what Nadel generally wore, which was the, covered up dress, I saw that it had a lot of layers going on. So I, reached in the bin of fabric and I put a few things together with the layers. The lace, which brought about the florals and the swirl she had in one dress. And then like something solid and plain. I added her sash, and then I did some hand painting on top of it to match the flower decal she had. Yeah, and then I had to get some like neat and poised hair together, represent my girl.
Yes, yes, yes. You did a wonderful job. You had some lace on your sleeves. I saw some lace on. Oh, that's nice. That's
So I
wonderful.
saw she had this like the way they layered the dress in the show. It was actually multiple dresses, and they changed the layer throughout. So what I decided to do is mix it up a little bit with the long and short on the sleeves. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
to kind of give it a little funky vibe. Because
right.
after today, I'm just gonna be lounging in this. And,
Okay.
it's just my little creative license on it.
Nice. Yes, wonderful, wonderful. So for Fenna, I got this spandex is 4-way stretch is spandex mixed with cotton. And I had to take close-up shots of the top part because the bottom part of Fenna's outfit is really just a simple, bodysuit, one piece. It's all the strappings, so I had to get the strappings in order and everything like that. So I have it was a strap here, strap there, one here, 2, 3 on the side, so got that together as best I could. So as you guys can see a little bit, yeah, you can see that. And she has the strapping here, and then the one piece bodysuit, and then the cape that goes it's not a cape, it's really like a long a vest, which I don't have on because it's really hot. And my sleeves is a little bit too long, so they were covering this. So when I tweak it, I'm gonna actually remove the sleeves and just have the part just hanging here so that you can see the strapping like how it is in the show. But I wanted to put this on because I figure, I'm gonna be loose and free, and it's warm today, and I'm at the beach, so I don't want to be too much like Nadel walking around on the beach with no long cape on. So I don't want to cover up. I want to show myself, And after this, I'm going to a Marvel photo shoot at Bethesda Terrace, put on by one of I call him my cosplay sons, Lewis. So I'm really excited about that because I miss taking photo shoots. The last photo shoot we did was, we were in Rebellion, and I was like, so sorry, Mayor, so sorry, Governor, you canceled Halloween, but you know what? We got to get together and do something. So I didn't even know like if anybody would come, and like 34 people showed up, and I was like, "Oh, this is a lot of people. You see the police? You see the police?" But thank God it was at night, and we was down at South Street Seaport, and a lot of people on the street. So I guess people are like, okay, look, these people have been suffering since March. It's Halloween. We canceled the parade. I got to do something. So we took some wonderful pictures down, and I think some of you guys have saw it on the site. Wonderful pictures. Had a good time. And so we hadn't done anything after that. So I know that some cosplayers have been doing little small photo shoots here and there. So I said, okay, I'm going to go and do this one today. And then we have ours coming up. So speaking about ours, we have some great upcoming stuff going on. So I'm going to start. And I know, Miss Perry, you have some stuff. So we have, was it April 24th, right?
Yes.
Battle of the Fandoms photo shoots. Okay. So Battle of the Fandoms is like Star Trek versus Star Wars. Okay. Marvel versus DC, all the verses. So that's going to be fun. And that's going to be in Brooklyn at the steps on Lafayette Avenue, right across from BAM, those beautiful clear colored steps. It's going to be really nice. That's on April 24th. If it doesn't rain, if it rains, we'll have to postpone it. We also have coming up in April our next Cospod, which we're going to not tell you about because we're gonna kind of keep things a surprise and just when you open up and you see us on our YouTube channel, you will be able to see what we're talking about. So our YouTube channel is Starbase Centaur, New York City Cosplayer Network, and we're on YouTube. And so check us out. And we're gonna be posting all of our Cospods there. So we're doing our next Cospod for April. And in May, we have some things coming up. We have a ship that we're part of, a Star Trek group called USS Gerard Holder, again named after my good friend and our co-founder and our good friend and brother Gerard Holder. And this, like I said, was kind of his suggestion because he wanted us to do activities like this. So we created a ship after him, and it's under Starfleet Command, which is the oldest Star Trek organization in the world, created in 1974, sanctioned by Gene Roddenberry. So we're going to have a ship's commissioning. And that's going to be a lot of fun. Then we have Memorial Day. So hopefully there'll be some stuff going on in the Intrepid. I will put out there in June. June is going to be really great because, June we normally do the Mermaid Parade, but I don't know if they're going to have it or not. But we plan something very special for Cospod in celebration of our mermaids and sea creatures. And you're going to want to definitely check that out, okay? So if you have any questions, you can hit us up. We have a public page on Facebook called NYCPN, New York Cosplay Network. Again, our YouTube channel is Starbase Centaur, New York City Cosplay Network. And check us out. And you have any ideas or anything like that, go ahead and let us know about it. Any happening events, exciting events that you know about in the geek community, let us know so we can advertise it. And Miss Perry, you take it away.
Nadel has some distractions in her background.
Okay, Nadel. Well, that's how it is, Nadel.
That is
I
how
don't
it
have
is.
any distractions. Water, oh, it's a couple of guys walking around, cute.
So when we have our next Cospod video, you guys are going to be blown away, okay? We're going to get together on this. I want to thank you guys, all of our listeners.
Oh, that's little Fenna in the background. That's little Fenna in the background.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, it is. And I'm going to make sure she is raised free, expressive.
Yes, that's right.
And anyone
right.
who wants to be in her circle needs to be free as well.
Yes,
because it's
yes.
all out of love. But
Yes.
you want to make sure that the ones closest to you are healthy mentally and physically.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes. So thank you. That's where I was at, right? Yes. Saying thank you to our listeners. Make sure you subscribe and like. Please. Look out for new content coming from us. We're going to have more and more in the future. I would like to also share, in addition to the poem that was in the video that we played first, you can find more of those in my book, Soulful Journey, that you can find on blurb.com/Aurora. I also have the aurora.info YouTube page where I discuss the children's books that my lovely Fenna mentioned earlier. We do a roundtable just discussing all children's books because just like we talked about the dynamics in this particular episode, I talk about the dynamics with other mothers and professionals, just about what's being instilled at the young age, like I mentioned. The children, boys, girls, doesn't matter. The things that we give them early on in their development shapes what they become, who they become. So it's very important that we take a deeper look at what we bring to them in those developmental stages and those early learning years. With that, I have the Nana Said series, which goes into lessons as a child that I grew up with in a fun, festive way. Story rhymes. I'm coming out with a couple of more books in that series, and there'll be even more down the line, and all discussing things from responsibility, drinking, because let's not pretend like these things don't come up,
Right.
and it's in the households,
Yes.
a lot of things that we're dealing with, and maybe it's not in yours, but it's not like they may not encounter it. And you
Right.
want to have the conversation before these things happen. Just
Yeah.
like you want to make sure that they're mentally sound when you send them out the door, send them to school.
Right.
You got to have those conversations before the incident comes up and
Mm-hmm.
not after. And it really shapes how we react to things. You will
Yes.
react when you are free, you will
Mhm.
react in a free manner and not angry, violent.
Right.
You'll have, the capacity because you've had the conversations, you've
Right.
had the knowledge, the training,
Right.
and all through literature, through things like Star Trek, things
Mm-hmm.
like cosplay, because we just bring things in a more artful way,
Yes.
and which changes the world, I would say. Because
Yes.
when you bring things from a point of like love, which
Mm-hmm.
I find is art,
Right.
when you're growing up, that's how you're
Right.
first taught things with
Mm-hmm.
art, with
Mm-hmm.
color, with shapes,
Mm-hmm.
touch, feel. You exploring all
Yes.
the senses.
Yes.
It makes a big difference in how you react. Once you get older, you
Mhm.
took that time to meditate, so you take that time before you react to things.
Yes.
And that is something I invite all parents, men, women, even other kids, when it comes
Mm.
to our roundtable and children's books, because
Wonderful.
all these different perspectives are needed
Mm-hmm.
in order to have this conversation.
That's so true. That's so true. And that's why I love when we do the reading time with kids in cosplay, and even with my cadets and the youth mentorship programs I've been involved in. I've used Star Trek episodes to have conversations, and to also expand the young people's imagination, when they see the uniforms and the alien characters. And I love working with graphic artists when they work with children and they encourage children to create their own stories and their own characters and put in different perspectives. And then we've done costume making workshop for kids and also encourage them to create their own character and everything. And that's so important. That's why I appreciate how my parents raised me up to watch Star Trek, because, we would look at the episodes and have conversation. And this went on all the way into Voyager. My parents would still watch together and have conversation. And, then I would have, even on my job, I use Let This Be a Last Battlefield. I use segments of that episode when I was asked by my job to lead a diversity training class. And that kind of like broke the mold when I came out with some Star Trek scenes, and people were like, oh, okay. But Let This Be Your Last Battlefield was a great topic to discuss race and diversity. So I've always appreciated that element of Star Trek. And it has kind of spoiled me too, because I mean, when it comes to movies and TV, unless it needs to be a particular one race only thing, I mean, if I don't see some diversity in TV shows and movies, I don't even spend my money anymore. I mean, because you're not going to tell me ain't no people of color you could have put in this TV show or movie. So, and I'm just at a point now, particularly with all that has been going on and everything. And there's been a lot of discussions about talking with children about race, sexual identity, and appreciating people of different cultures and nationalities and religions and everything like that. And now it's becoming more and more, because we see what happens to a society when we don't have these conversations with our young people. And they grow up with certain ways of thinking and certain ways of acting and certain ways of believing that just become just destructful for the community and then eventually the society as a whole. So it starts with the child. It starts with their mentality right then and there as a young person. And I think we play young people cheap, because I know I've had some really deep, thoughtful conversations with young people, even more so than some adults. And the questions they ask, the ways that they look at things, and even if they're not quite looking at things too great, and you want to like share something with them and kind of challenge them to see another perspective, they're willing to listen, and so their minds and their hearts are just so open. So I appreciate you having these discussions and doing these books, and reaching down to the hearts, minds, souls, and spirits of our young people, so they can grow tall and blossom in the right kind of way. Hmm. Okay, so is there anything else, my partner? Nadel?
Oh, I think we covered it. I am
Okay,
excited for our
okay.
future and all the love, the joy, and just enlightenment we're going to be bringing to our
Yes.
fan base.
Yes, yes, yes. This is a new and exciting initiative, and we're ready to go for it. We've got our costumes, we've got our guest list, we've got our idealists, and we're going to be working with some really awesome people. We're going to have some really awesome people on this show, awesome cosplayers, writers, and it's just going to be like a full, diverse type of community we're going to be bringing onto the show because there's so many wonderful things to talk about. And again, we also want to advertise those of you who are like up and coming artists or organizers. Let us know who you are, what you're doing. We don't mind featuring on the show. We can share the love. We all have to start someplace. I had a major cosplayer take me under his wing, and I learned a lot about what it means to cosplay and to organize photo shoots and organize fan events. So, we all start small and then we move up together. Okay. So I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed, stay happy, love yourself, love your neighbor, love your family, love on your friends. Don't let the evil come anywhere near you. Just kick it in the street where it belongs. Keep your head up and keep it moving. Thank you again for watching our first Cospod 2021, and we'll see you in a few
Sure.
weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Did you stop recording?